Now can you hear me?
There we go.
Everyone, welcome to Open Office Hours. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us today. For those of you that have never been here, I'm Crystal. I'm part of the team here. I'll let the ladies introduce themselves as well.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tatiana, also part of the sales team here.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brandy, and I am the third member of the sales team here. Nice to see everyone.
Yes, it's excellent to see everyone. I love that I can see some returning names, also some new names. And so just to do like the normal announcement, I'm sure some of you have heard this over and over, but this is really a place where you can just attend and ask whatever question you have. You can hop in, hop out. It's really kind of your hour. We are open to answering any questions from really anywhere you are at in your journey of Synchro. So whether it's just a quick, hey, I need help tracking time on a ticket. It could be that. It could be something very intricate on automated remediations. So really wherever you are in your journey, please don't hesitate to ask your questions. That's what this is for. We use the Q&A. That's the best way for us to track. So if you see us looking over to the side, that's probably what we're looking at and monitoring. So to start out though, I think I'm gonna just kind of throw it over and let Brandy talk for a little bit. We've been starting to put this idea of taking a little bit of a deep dive into certain features that we think either are just awesome and sometimes get missed, or things that can help make you more money, make you more efficient, save you time. So I will just hand it over to Brandy. She's going to give us a little bit of a deep dive today, and then we'll get to your questions.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. Today, I am going to do a deep dive on saved asset searches. And the reason why is because you can do so many things with saved asset searches. And I've done demos with a lot of you guys. And I feel like no matter how much time you've spent on Syncro, testing out your trial, or if you're a paid subscriber, you're not using saved asset searches either at all or to the fullest. So I'm just going to start here. I'm going to start in the Assets and RMM page. Out to the left, this magnifying glass, it's there for a reason. So these are going to be your saved asset searches. You can group devices. I get a lot of people asking how to group devices. You can group them based on a custom field that you have. So for example, I have a custom field for Office 365 on every single asset. And if they have Office 365 from me, I do this for billing purposes. So I have this option. You can also come down here. You'll want to make sure you make this a Syncro device to be able to add any property conditions. So you can you'll still notice some of your custom fields are going to be visible in here, but things like pending reboot, you can create a pending reboot saved asset search. You can do this based on specific installed applications. You can do it based on missing applications. What you can do with these different saved asset searches, there's about 4 more things. So first of all, I can come in here and I can say, okay, let's find all my Office 365 users. I'm going to select all of those in mass, and then you could run a script, change a policy, change the customer in mass. You're also able to send a broadcast message to all of these different devices. So you can do bulk actions like that. One thing that people like to do is, hey, if they have a specific installed application and you need to come run a script to uninstall it, you can do that in mass. Or, hey, please leave your devices on tonight. So you can do that. Another thing here is you can send out mass mailers. So if you head over into more and you go into our mailer, I can come down, create a custom campaign, and I can do this based on my saved asset searches. So, hey, I want an upsell opportunity. I want to make some money, right? Make more money with Syncro. I'm going to select my devices that are missing antivirus, shoot them an email. Maybe I'm offering a special, an end of the year, Christmas in July type of a thing. You can offer them a special on antivirus. And then I love to show in my this is in recurring invoices. You can bill dynamically based on these different RMM searches. So I can come in, I can select the assets in RMM counter. Rather than select Syncro device here, I'm going to use my saved asset searches. So where I had that checkbox for my custom field, now I can come in and I can count dynamically how many Office 365 users or devices this particular customer has. When they add 6 devices next month, you don't have to worry about updating this. Your billing person will love you. It's going to save a lot of time. You don't have to do it manually. So again, you can do this based off of anything that you have. A lot of people have asked me about antivirus or backup that's not purchased through Syncro and it's managed elsewhere. It's easier if it's purchased in Syncro because everything, we do have dynamic counters for, we have like data backup line that's going to pull in from Cloudberry, but you can still create different custom fields and saved asset searches for things that are managed outside of Syncro too. I hope that helps you guys. I can look and see if there's any questions in here based on the saved asset searches. I did see a question about PAX 8. So with PAX 8, that's actually, you don't need to use saved asset searches for that. If you're selling Office 365 to your customer through, and I'm sorry I used the Office 365 example, it's just the easiest one. But if you're selling that through PAX 8, it will automatically add as a line item for you. It'll pull in license counts from that customer, and it will auto add as a line item on the invoice, and it's also going to prorate for you. So that would be the only way you can prorate is if you were using PAX 8. But I hope that helps.
Awesome. Hey, Brandy, I was wondering, do you want to, while you're there, show off the different ways to use saved asset searches in reports?
Oh, sure.
I think that sometimes gets missed and it's super helpful.
Do you have a report in mind?
I was going to say the asset audit report.
Okay.
Yep.
So if I go into the asset audit report, you can do this based on your different saved searches. So if you want to say, okay, they've got a certain installed application or it's all my devices with, by the way, policies is also one of the options for saved asset searches. So a lot of people ask about that. So I could say, okay, my silver policy customers, you can come in here and you can run a report on. One thing with the asset audit report is you can customize the different headings that you can see. So I like this part because this also brings in your custom fields that you have created. But yes, you can use saved asset searches for those. And real quickly too, on assets in RMM, you don't have to do that out to the right. You can just click on save search here quickly, but if you are wanting to create one, then you would do it here. Yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
Well, thank you, Brandy. Thank you very much. I'm going to grab one and answer Sebastian's question, and then I see, Brandy, if you want to go back to Austin's and you can dive into that one too in a little bit more detail. I'll go ahead and share my screen really quick because Sebastian has a good question and it's asked often. So I'm just going to go to a customer here. The question is best practices essentially as to like where do you store the actual do you store the main contact as the business name? Do you store them as a contact? What do you do there? I think that everyone does this a little bit different, if I'm honest. The one thing that you did bring up though is QuickBooks and the sync with QuickBooks. This email is the email that has to be the same as the email in QuickBooks. So whether or not you use like the actual, like for here, I have Larry's business, Larry's Lamplighter. So this is the business name, and then I put in an actual name. You don't have to put a name in there. You could leave that blank so it just said Larry's business, and then you could just make sure. The one thing though, you do have to have that main email has to be the same for it to be able to sync with QuickBooks. So in addition to that, I mean, you can add contacts. Contacts can have, like you can have duplicating emails, and then you can choose like if contacts receive like billing emails and that kind of thing. So the main thing is that that main customer email has to match your QuickBooks email for it to sync properly. So you can configure the actual name of the business however you prefer. Hopefully that helps.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Crystal. I have a question here from Sebastian. He says, if you closed the ticket but did not charge the time, would the customer still get invoiced, or would you have to make sure that the ticket is still open? So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen because there's a couple layers to this that I want to make sure are kind of explained to you so that you guys can understand how this is set up currently within Syncro. So as you know, if you go over to the admin section, I'll show you guys this setting first, because it is important to decide whether you want to charge for time on your tickets by default or not. So if you go over to the ticket preferences and then you scroll down to the additional settings, this is where you can choose if you want to charge time by default or not. So sometimes it takes me a second to find it, but here it is, ticket timer, charge time by default. So again, whether you have that enabled or not, his question is if he's working on a ticket and you charge the time, that is what basically shows up to the ticket charges. So when you're working on a ticket, it looks like out of the 2 time entries that I have here in my ticket timer log, out of these 2, I only charged for one of them, and it says invoiced because I was doing some testing, but I'll show you guys. I'm only charging for one that is invoiced already, and I'm going to go ahead and clear this charge just so you guys can see. And then you'll notice that one of those is missing now, and I had another one entered here manually. So what I'm trying to show here is you're correct. If you are not charging this time, it will not show up on the invoice. This is if you're tracking time internally. Maybe you have an all-you-can-eat customer that's paying you $10,000-$15,000 a month, and you are just saying, hey, you know what, we're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This is a VIP customer, whatever it might be. Again, if you're not charging the time to the ticket, it's not going to pop up on this ticket charges section here. However, you still can run reports to see how much time you're spending resolving that customer's ticket. So if you go over to the reports section, I'm going to show you guys this tech hours report. If you scroll down to the tickets or actually the employees section, it's going to be here in the ticket time by technician. And so in this section here, this is where you're able to see all the time that's attributed to by this technician and to which customer. And at that point, you can see, hey, am I missing any ticket charges, or do I need to make sure that I'm billing for all of these? So the question, again, back to the original question, if you go back and this ticket is still is now invoiced because I invoiced only one of those. If you go ahead and charge that time again, it will not be added to the invoice for that specific ticket. You'll see that I just have that one single remote labor line item here. However, what will happen is that when you go to create a second invoice for that customer, it will start sitting here in the pending ticket charges. So what I did is I went ahead, and after I created the original invoice here, I went ahead and added more time. I added, I think, 10 hours of business labor here. So as you can see, it has not been invoiced yet. So it's sitting in your pending ticket charges at this point. So if you wanted to, you could go back to the invoice that's linked to that original ticket here, and you could just go ahead and pull that information in. If I refresh this, you'll see it here. You could add it to that same exact invoice if that's what your goal is, so that you can bill it kind of all in one fell swoop for that one ticket. Or if you go ahead and you wrap up all the pending ticket charges onto this invoice, you can just add them all right in here on a brand new ticket. So hopefully that answers your question. Let me know if you guys need any more clarity on that one.
Awesome. Thanks, Tatiana. I have a couple here that I'll go ahead and grab. Austin, chat's amazing. Yay. Is the Mac agent on the list for release? So we don't currently have an ETA for that. For anyone who is joining us, you are able to request access to the Mac agent beta. You can feel free to email your account representative if you know it's one of the 3 of us, or you can reach out to help@syncromsp.com, and we can add you the Mac agent beta. We'll also send you the feature matrix. You can still do quite a bit. Some people just want to know, like, can I actually do anything? You can, but we'll send you that feature matrix, and hopefully we'll have an update for you soon. I don't know when, but just to be very transparent, we don't know an ETA on that one. And then I'll just go ahead and grab Mike's question. Is there a way to pull a report that shows what machines are missing patches and exactly what those patches are and when they were released? So really, really good question. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. There's going to be 2 reports that pertain to patching. If you head into the report section, you can either go to missing patches by KB or vulnerable systems. Missing patches by KB is going to tell you the KB number. You'd be able to see all of the assets that are missing that KB. And so if you knew, okay, it's going to be, 0830, I'm going to go ahead and install this on all 4 devices. I really like this one. This is the vulnerable systems report. You can can break this down by customer if you would like to. You can also select categories and you'd have the option to ignore new patches and stale. But I can say, okay, it looks like there's 14 assets that are missing different KBs. Let's just install all of them in mass. Now, I don't believe that, I think your last part of the question was when they were released. I don't think it's going to have that. I'm just clicking into it to see what it says. It might on this. I truly have never even clicked into this section here, but yeah, those I would say are the two best reports. I really like the vulnerable systems report. Cool.
Awesome. Thank you. I'm going to rapid fire a few just here. One from Richard, is there a SolarWinds and central import tool for agents? So we are active. We actually are working on that right now. Richard, I'm sure obviously one of us is your contact. Shoot us an email. We'll get you in touch because like I said, I don't think the active like app card isn't on the site yet, but we're developing it right now and more testing would be really helpful. So please, whoever it is, it's just our first name and then at syncromsp.com. Then I was just going to also just take the opportunity because I'm sure there's people in here that have that question based upon the RMM or PSA that they're actively using now. So I'm just going to take a quick opportunity. Oh, I went too many. I went the wrong, I meant to go to
real quick with SolarWinds. I have a few people that are testing it right now. When we were testing with real data with a couple customers, there's a few things that the dev team is working out. So there was a bug and they're working on that. So I wouldn't be able to connect you. We wouldn't be able to connect you right away, but probably within the next week.
Yep, exactly. And so I think for right now, like what's available today, I just wanted to make sure I showed that just for people in here that have a different RMM and PSA. Most of you probably do. We've got a nice Atera, Ninja, ConnectWise Autotask importers. This agent installer though, as we're working out the kinks with the SolarWinds importer, you can use this. We will build a custom script for you so you can basically use your current RMM, whatever that is, and use this installer utility. So just wanted to mention that that is available while we're working on the SolarWinds importer also. The other one I was just going to answer real quick. Is it possible to have time tracking auto start when creating a new ticket? Currently that's an active feature request. We do have an amazing PowerShell module. So if for any reason you had like a scenario where if there was like an alert for low hard drive space, you could have that create a ticket and you could use a script to just add time to that ticket automatically, but starting the timer automatically is on the feature request list. And then the last one, just since I've got all my stuff up here, just wanted to show you, there was a question about using Active Directory to deploy Synchro. So we do have an MSI installer option. So if you just grab an RMM agent installer, you could use the MSI installer. So that's kind of the best way to go. If you do have group policy, you can use the MSI installer. Okay, good. Next one.
Awesome.
All right.
Oh,
you can go ahead. I was just going to go in order, but go for it.
Okay. Sorry, it's kind of zoom around once we close them out, so it's a little bit all over the place. Thank you, Crystal, for that. Super helpful. Next question here is from Bob. He says, newbie here. Welcome, Bob. All questions are welcome, even if you have used Syncro for years and years, or if you're new, all questions are welcome. So he says, where do we go to set up the details of the SLA and tech hourly rate? Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you guys how to set this up. So there's a couple different sections you want to go to. First things first, if you go over to the admin section, you'll see on the left-hand side, it's under, I believe, the ticketing portion. And so in here, you click into service level agreements. And in this section is where you set the settings of how, whatever contract you have with your customer. So I have one in here as an example, 24-hour SLA. I have in here, maybe I want to put time to resolution actually needs to be 24 hours to get this up to date. Maybe the breach warning needs to be 60 minutes to alert me that it's, this ticket has not been resolved yet, things like that. You can assign to a tech different. So once you set up your settings in here. I'm going to go ahead and save those changes. Once you create the different versions of the SLAs that you want to offer to your customers, you want to go ahead and go over to your contract section and open up a new contract for your customer. And this is where you can actually assign which SLA is going to be attributable to that customer. So for Larry, I have the 24-hour one set here. And so at that point, whatever settings you have adjusted in the SLA are going to apply to that customer's tickets, as long as you have that selected in your contract that you want this contract to apply to all tickets. That's super important to make sure you select there. And then another thing I wanted to mention specifically about SLAs is you can tie those into your ticket automation. So just an example, you have the capability in here. You can say if the ticket status is medium impact and there is 4 hours till the due date, you want to make sure to assign or change the status to high impact. But you can also say, yep, if they also have an SLA, yes, then that means like this is a huge priority to make sure that you know all the techs that are assigned need to be alerted in that way. And then for the second half of your question, it was about how to assign it tech rates in here. So when you're building if you go over to your products and services section and you're building your labor, this is where you can apply the different labor rates that you're offering to your customers. You can set the cost here. And so when the techs are working the different tickets and they're selecting what type of work that they're doing, this is where kind of the options, you build the options for them to choose from. And then same with back to the contracts, you also can block certain types of product offerings. For example, if this is a business customer, you're not going to be offering them residential labor. You can just go ahead and put that in the block list and make sure that's not even an option for your techs to choose from. So hopefully that helps answer your question.
Awesome. I will go ahead and knock out a few of these in a row. Jamie is asking, when adding an asset to a policy partway through the month, how does that affect recurring invoices in terms of billing? It does not prorate. So currently we don't have the ability to prorate if you're adding devices mid-month. The only thing that would prorate is if you were using Pax8 to sell products. So no prorating natively within Syncro currently. And then I have a question about what are our options for adding salespeople to Syncro that don't require full RMM functionality, that only need access to estimates and proposals and create proposals? So unfortunately right now we don't have, it's basically per user. So whether they're a technician or billing, whatever they do, each user that needs a login would have a license in Syncro. But what you can do is you can go into the admin section and have different security groups, and you could have, you could just restrict access to everything else for that particular user. So they could only have estimates in here. Yep, hopefully that helps.
I was going to grab one since we're going in order, but I don't know if I have the answer yet. I was asking technical support.
I think I know that one.
You know this one, the 30 days future? Okay, go for it.
I could be wrong, but I think, so the question is, I have a question on the notification center options. Asset has a date field 30 days in the future, and asset has a date field 7 days in the future. Can you explain how these work? I could be completely wrong, but what I believe is that if there's a custom field for the asset that is a date range, that it would be coming up in the next 7 days or 30 days. If you guys know differently, then feel free to correct me, but I am pretty sure that that has to do with you have a custom field for an asset with a date range. You can confirm if you look at the asset custom fields if there's a date range in there that you can create, but I'm pretty sure that's what it refers to.
I agree. Yep.
Sweet. Cool. All right. Good stuff. I think Tatiana's up.
Yep. Sorry, guys. I'll catch up here. It's Friday. Okay. Question here from someone that joined. Looks like, hi Kevin, welcome. Thank you for joining Open Office Hours. He says, I currently use Enable for RMM and have used PC Repair Tracker for years now, moving back to Repair Shopper. Looks like Syncro might work really well for my business. What is the path to migrate users from Repair Shopper to Syncro? And is there a way to convert Kombudo agents to Syncro agents? So yes, migration path is super simple. We try to make it as easy as possible for you guys. If you do feel that Syncro is a good fit, we actually take care of most of the heavy lifting for you. So there's just a couple things you have to get ready on your Repair Shopper account, and you can either do it reach out to your account rep and have them kind of walk you through the different steps that you need to take, or I'll go ahead and drop a link onto the things that you need to set up. And then once your account is ready, again, it's just a couple things you need to unplug, like QuickBooks, Square, things like that. We can get you connected to the migration specialist who's going to take care of the rest of the things for you. They are scheduling a little bit of a ways out right now, maybe 1 to 2 weeks, but they will fit you in as soon as they are able to. And so at that point, what'll happen is when you are on the migration date, they'll ask you to go ahead and sign out of your Repair Shopper account, and they will take care of the migration for you. It takes about an hour in most cases, and they take care of, basically they complete the entire migration for you. And so when you log back in, it will literally be a Syncro account. So all of your settings, all of your customers, tickets, invoices, everything is going to remain intact. You don't have to carry any of that stuff over. We take care of all of that on our end, and our migration specialist is very experienced. He'll take great care of you guys. And for the second part of your question, for Kabuto agents, we do have an option for you to, for us to handle that for you. You can reach out to your account rep on how to get that taken care of, or you can do it yourself as well. Okay, and then next question here is from Ari. He says, can I use a different outbound email address in my mailer from the one that I use for tickets? And yes, you can. I just double check this for you. I'll go ahead and show you the mailer setting here. If you go under more and mailer, if you edit any one of your campaigns or you build a brand new one, you have the capability to adjust which outbound email address is going to be listed here. So it says email sender address, also reply to address, and you can create a custom one in there. That's it.
Awesome. Thank you, Tatiana. I'll go ahead and take a couple in here. So when we were talking about the Mac agent, is it possible to have a script or Splashtop deployment via Syncro for the Mac agent? As far as I'm aware, that Screen Connect is currently our only integration that's going to work with the Mac agent. I'm not sure what you can do with Splashtop outside of Syncro, but as far as if you are wanting to launch a session straight through Syncro, you would need to use Screen Connect for that. And then let's see here. Is there a way to run the third-party patching policies applied to an asset on demand? There isn't like a button per se to go run it on demand. However, if you are in your policies, it doesn't matter if you make any changes or not. You can just come in here and you could save and it'll automatically just push as a sync if you just go to edit. But if you just go into your third-party patch management, as long as you don't have it on a particular schedule down here at the bottom, then what you could do is you could just go ahead and select it and then save, and make sure you save that particular policy, and it should push a sync. I believe it's either immediate or within the next 15 minutes when the agent checks in next, when it syncs next. So that would be one way to just go ahead and push like an on-demand type of a thing.
Awesome. Okay, next question here is from Jose. He says, I came in late. I don't know if the question was already asked, but is there a way to attach a chat to an existing ticket? So I'll share my screen with you guys. I know for sure there is a way to make sure that you can create a ticket once you're in a chat session. So again, chat is super brand new. This is an open beta. We are going to continue developing it based on the requests I received from you guys. So yes, right now you can, if you're in a chat, you can create a new ticket straight from here that will carry over that information, customer information, things like that. I double checked. I assumed it would be under the actions section. So I'll double check again to see if there's a way to start a chat straight from a ticket. Obviously you can communicate with your customer here and send them an email or a private note or whatever it might be. But I'll double check and see if once you already have a ticket created, if you can chat with your customer straight from here. I don't think so. I think you would have to just go into here and create a brand new chat in that way. And just another thing so that you guys know is you can, if you go onto a customer section, you do have that chat history listed here for that on a customer per customer basis as well.
What I was wondering too, Tatiana, is on that, it's not, you can't currently do it from a ticket. That is definitely a high feature request. But if you're, it sounds like you want to attach the chat to an existing ticket. What you could do is you could merge the ticket. So you could create a new ticket from the chat. And then if you go up to actions, just where Tatiana was showing you, there's a merge button. And so that might be one way that you could do it. It's kind of a
Super
workaround,
smart.
2 extra clicks, but you could do that.
Yeah, super smart. Thank you, Brandy.
Yeah, really good.
Mhm.
For now, yeah, I think like there's been an outpour from the community. Everyone loves chat,
Yes.
which it's awesome. It's like our dev team is so good. It's just ridiculous. But we do love the feature requests because, you know, we are taking those in, making iterations and things like that. So yeah, keep them coming if you have requests like that. I was just gonna grab a few, first from Ali, our asset tags customizable. So if you're meaning asset labels, not right now. There's just kind of like the standard label. So it is pretty high on the feature request list though. I hear this a lot. Different labels being able to customize. So working on it. I'm fairly certain we're working on that. And then from Sebastian, if the end user uninstalls the Syncro agent, is there a way to know besides the device showing offline for a long time? I was checking the notification center and I can't find a notification for an agent being uninstalled. One thing I just wanted to point you to though, so I looked through the notification center, unless I'm missing a keyword, but I didn't find it. What I wanted to just show is you can require a code to uninstall Syncro. So if you would really like them to not uninstall this, I would just throw a code in here because then they just can't. They would have to contact you to be able to uninstall that. So I would do that. And then, yes, I just wanted to say that what Brandy and Tatiana both said about the notification with the 30 days and 7 days in the future, that is absolutely a custom field and a way, Ari, to track your warranties. Yep.
Mm-hmm. And I think someone else even asked along the same lines about it to, I don't even know where it is anymore. But I think they asked something about like handling expirations on assets. Oh, I'm so sorry. You can answer that, Tatiana. I think you were going to do that and you might have a different answer there, but I think those might go along with each other.
I'm sorry, which one?
The next one with the asset expirations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was going to say we are coming soon with a report, maybe or maybe not in the near future, or maybe not, on something that might have to do with asset expirations on hardware and alerts and all that good stuff. So you may or may not have heard it from us.
But in the meantime, you could use custom fields and have a date range and use those notifications to be notified within 7 days.
Yes.
Now it's going to be called Spill the Beans with Tatiana.
No.
I feel like that for being ambiguous. May or may not.
I love it.
Okay, next question here is from Ali. He says, where is the statement button on the customer page? So I'll show you guys that as well. If we go and search for the ever famous Larry, if you go into here, it's going to be actually in the customer overview section. And here, if you click this button right here, it'll show you a PDF statement that you can either print for your customer or download an email. So yeah, it'll show a total balance of how much due, how long they're past due, and things like that. Hopefully that helps. So again, that's in the overview section here. It's just the PDF statement button right there.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and take Jamie's question just as a follow-up earlier when we were talking about recurring invoices and not prorating. He's asking, would it add on as a full month on the next invoice or from the next full month? It will add on in the month that the asset is added. So if they add a new device on the 18th of the month, then it would add. Now, I will show you, I have been playing around a lot with different scenarios recently. And one thing that I've kind of come up with is you could have a certain policy that you deploy to assets for like an interim period if you wanted to, and then instead of use the asset and RMM counter, you could use the RMM package. And so this would be like if you were in transition of replacing a device, you don't want it to double up, or if it's like mid-month and you don't want it to show up until the following month, you could put them in a particular policy that you don't want to add on the invoice, and then you could only put like silver, whatever it was here. That would be one way of still billing per endpoint, but not doing it across all devices, if that makes sense. But just a little workaround.
Cool. Okay. Scott, for reoccurring tickets, how can we specify a time that the ticket will reoccur? For example, we have weekly tickets scheduled for certain tasks like tracking internal time, tracking time for monitoring dashboard review. I want that to happen at 8 a.m. or whatever, but seems to be driven by the time a ticket was made reoccurring and no option to change it. I know there is no option to change it. I didn't know that it reoccurred on the same time you made it. Because like reoccurring invoices, on the other hand, they generate at 6 a.m. local time. So whatever that your local time is, they'll generate at 6 a.m. So it sounds like reoccurring tickets just create there's no way to change it at this point. The other thing, and while I was here, just because I just wanted to answer Jamie's question too, is there a way to auto generate a ticket from an appointment or reminder notification? So it's not an automatic thing. So I do wonder if I just thought I'd pin this together just because I wonder if creating a reoccurring ticket would be helpful. If you plan on creating a ticket based upon a reminder anyways, maybe you could just create a reoccurring ticket. So thought I'd throw that into that part of that answer.
Perfect. No, Nick, no current public-facing roadmap that shows upcoming features or products over the next year. Facebook group or this open office hours is usually a good place to learn, about those. Yeah, we don't have a current public-facing roadmap, and that's just because some, what we think is going to take a week sometimes takes a month, and we just want to make sure when we're shipping the features to you guys that they've gone through testing and bugs are worked out and such. We don't want to disappoint.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question here is from Jamie. He says, is there a way through Syncro for end users to access their assets, for example, remote desktop? So I'll show you guys what we do have currently built in. So this feature was developed for people who are working with internal IT departments or maybe contractors that need access to only one customer. So if you go over to the admin section and then you also head over to your security groups, you have the capability in here to create, you would have to purchase a separate license for this user, and you can create a customer specific user in here. And that, again, it doesn't give them all the capabilities that your regular technicians would have, but it does allow them to access their own endpoints. They can run scripts against them, they can create tickets, manage the tickets, things like that, and you can remotely access that way. However, this is not recommended for end users to remote into their own endpoint, because again, these are going to be customer specific. They're going to have access to all of the assets here that you give them permission to view, things like that. So specifically, if you're working on a kind of setting your customers up on a work from home type of situation, we do recommend our integrations with Screen Connect, Splashtop, or TeamViewer outside of Syncro to utilize those. And again, with these three, if you weren't aware, they are available within Syncro. You do bring your own license and you set up for free with us. So that is what we currently are recommending. And then next question here is from another one from Jamie. He says, do you have encryption management other than through Bitdefender? Do you have integration with BitBlocker? So I'll show you guys what he's talking about. Currently, that is the only option we have for encryption, is just to go through Bitdefender. So again, in the App Center, if you go over to the Bitdefender app card, you'll notice that you do have additional add-ons for you to choose from. So if you need extra, next level type of security for, a specific customer or the CEO's computer, or for the accounting department, something like that, you do have the capability to choose from these add-ons. And here we don't currently have an integration with BitLocker, but we can definitely pass that along as a feature request.
Awesome. All right, a couple in here that I'll take. Mike's asking if you can initiate a chat to the client if they haven't chatted with us before. You absolutely can. So you can initiate chat with new clients. And then I saw Bob had asked, are the packages sent as different levels of service, like gold, silver, bronze? That's up to you. However you want to set up your policies, you can set those up however you like. I'll just show an example of how we have ours set up. Ours, we have a lot because everyone handles their businesses differently. So we do have them set up as like a gold, silver, platinum in here, and that's just like your level of service. It could be an all-inclusive, package, that type of a thing for platinum maybe, but you can pick those however you want. I don't know if it shows up. I don't think it shows up like this to them. We can look, if we go into a ticket real quickly, we can see how it shows. You can send an agent installer via a ticket. So I can come down here and I can choose, let's just choose gold. Yeah, it's not going to say like gold package when they get their agent installer. So you can send it that way too. But yeah, you can absolutely set it up like that.
Next question here is from Steven. He says, is there a way to see how long a remote desktop session is or was open? So I'll show you guys what we do currently have available. If you go over to our any endpoint within the assets and RMM section, just click into any one of your Syncro devices, and in here you do have this recent activity section. You can see when the screen sharing has started. However, right now it will not show the duration. As far as I'm aware, if you do click into even view the full activity, it will give you kind of a longer running list of everything that's happened other than these 20 or 25 most recent activities. But currently that is definitely something that's very highly requested, to actually show the duration or maybe export to CSV to view more details like that. I'll definitely pass that along.
And one thing I like to do is in the ticket too, this obviously isn't going to be an automated thing, but what a lot of people like to do is they'll start the timer and then they'll pop into a remote session, and you're still logging the time that way. You could set it up as a specific labor type, even if you don't want to charge for it. It could be like a $0 type thing, but you'd be able to choose what labor that was, and maybe you just name that, remote session, just so that you're able to keep track. Just a little tip that some people like to do.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Cool. I was just going to grab a few from one from Bob. Are the expiration date pulled in from the agent? So we do have an integration with Warranty Master, but right now the warranty dates, the actual warranty dates, like from Dell or something like that, that doesn't pull in from the agent. So that's why where you can use custom fields to do that and then set up notifications that way. But we do have an integration with Warranty Master, just to mention that. And then the other question from Brian, when using the QuickBooks Web Connector to sync with QuickBooks Desktop, when we receive payments in QuickBooks, will the invoice show as paid in Syncro? Not for QuickBooks Desktop. QuickBooks Online, however, payments do sync both ways. But with QuickBooks Desktop, if you are receiving payments on the QuickBooks side, you would have to manually mark those paid in Syncro, unless you just flipped the script and used one of our payment processors and just received the payment on the Syncro side, because that would mark the invoice paid in QuickBooks Desktop.
Awesome. Kevin, I just dropped the feature matrix in the chat, so you should be able to see that. That's for the Mac agent. If anyone else is curious about the feature matrix, it just shows versus Windows what all it can do.
It's my turn. Nick, suggestions on how to deploy agents en masse to new clients when onboarding. So I think curious, how other people are doing it, but a lot of people, I think, like when you're setting up a new client, obviously the request is that, we have a probe, and I think that's something that we're working on, network discovery and all of that good stuff. For now, I know a lot of users, again, if there is group policy, you could use the MSI installer. In addition to that, I've heard a lot of MSPs that just throw the EXE on a flash drive and just, because maybe you're on site. But I don't know these times, maybe you're not on site. So it depends on how many endpoints they have, because you can send the EXE through a ticket if it's totally remote. So that is that's definitely an option. If you're on site, you could put it on a flash drive, but usually most people use that MSI installer. And we are working on more of that network discovery probe option.
Awesome. Quick tip here from Paco. He says there are a few scripts in the community script library to enable BitLocker and store the key in the custom field in Syncro. So that is awesome. Thank you so much, Paco, for sharing that, because I actually didn't realize, so I learned something new today as well. If you guys head over to our scripts and click into the community script library and just search for BitLocker, you do have a couple options here to choose from. So super helpful. Thank you so much. And then next question here is from Ali. He says, is the ability to use custom domain for the dashboard, agent download, etc. on the roadmap? Definitely very highly requested, and I'll pass that along. We understand that, you know, branding is super important to you guys, and I do think that is something that a lot of people ask for, so I'll pass your request along as well.
Cool, I'm gonna grab a few. First, on the ticket list screen, the option for field type will not show any data. So let me just go to that screen. Oh, it got moved. Here. So you can customize your columns, and what I'm assuming is this type here is, I'm assuming that's what you mean. This type is your custom field type. So if you haven't added a custom field type to that ticket, it's not going to show up there. So if I think it's issue, it's kind of confusing. So think of issue as issue type, and think of type as custom field type. That's as far as I know. So I'm assuming that's why it's not populating. And then, Kevin, we like the newbie questions. If you are sending out an invoice via email, is there a way to set up a link to pay via Square, PayPal, QuickBooks, etc.? So, a few things. Yes. So we do have integrations where if it's Stripe or WorldPay or even PayPal, you can just have them log into their portal, and then that way they could just click pay now straight from the customer portal. So I'll just, there's a few things. This is a little bit, I'll give maybe a little bit more information than maybe what you asked, because the answer is yes. But if I go into Larry here, and I just want to show you his customer portal really quickly. When you send out an email, it'll have a link for them to log into their portal. And if you use either WorldPay, Stripe, PayPal, they can actually just pay their invoice straight from here. Now, on the flip side of that, if you're not having them pay through here and you want to send them a link just based upon, you send them an email and you want it inside of the actual email text, you can absolutely just head to your admin section, because you can edit, not only can you edit the actual invoice itself, you can edit the email that goes out with the invoice. So if you go to PDF and email templates, you absolutely could just go to email templates, invoice templates, and then just add your link. So this is where you would get to that point. So you could add a custom link if you're not using an integrated payment processor.
To the point of payment processors, Ari's asking about, can you use them like in conjunction with each other? So you can use PayPal with Stripe or WorldPay. You're not able to use Stripe and WorldPay. You could have both of them active, but you would have to toggle between the two. But PayPal can run alongside either one of those two.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. Question here from Sebastian. He says, QuickBooks calculates the tax automatically depending on the shipping address. Syncro also has a tax set up on the invoices. When the invoice is synced, does Syncro override QuickBooks Online, or which one wins? So I double checked this with our tech support team. It looks like we don't currently support the auto tax lookup in QuickBooks at this time. Rather, you map our tax rates to the QuickBooks ones and QuickBooks Online. It respects the mapping and it calculates the tax based on what we send over when syncing the device. So you can have, if you create multiple tax rates, you can group them together and assign those on a customer per customer basis. It is a little bit of a manual setup initially, but once you have that, hopefully you don't need to kind of touch it moving forward.
Awesome. I'll go ahead and take a couple here. Is the Datto integration something being looked at, or what backup options you have currently? Haven't heard any word about Datto, just to be transparent. We integrate with MSP 360, formerly Cloudberry currently. We've got quite a few scripts in the community script library for that. And you can also add it, you can enter the user information and it will add as a line item on the invoice. But currently that's the only one that we directly integrate with. And then I have a question about, from Anonymous. When using the agent contact form, selecting to include a screenshot doesn't seem to attach to the created ticket. I may be missing something. Where does the image go? It does. So I can just share my screen real quickly. I think I did one of these yesterday, if I want to call it testing or something, or I can just create one real quickly for you. So it does add as an attachment into the ticket. Let me just pop open here. And I will create one for you since we don't have many questions. Support request. I'll just do this. Hey, Brandy. Hey. Okay. I'll do this. Okay, perfect. Let me go into my tickets here. I think this was it. And then it will add as an attachment right here, the screenshot. So it should, if it's not working for you, then you'll want to reach out to help@syncromsp.com. But it should show up in the attachments here.
Sweet. I'm going to grab, oh, you might be ready, Tatiana. I'm not sure. Through integrations in IT Glue, it is now possible to sync Microsoft 365 users as contacts in IT Glue. Can Syncro import these contacts from IT Glue or use as contacts on tickets? Not currently. Currently, that's not part of the integration. You can't, it's not going to import on a contact level. You can import contacts. So if IT Glue allows you to export to a CSV, you could then take that and import into Syncro, but it's not going to do it natively. I'm going to read this one out loud. I think I saw one. Oh, I don't know where that one went, but
Paco, you are the nicest person ever. That's all I have to say.
Oh, so nice. My question, this is from, yeah, my question is a bit different. Since Syncro is a business just like the rest of us, what can we do to help support you and the team? Would purchasing yearly licenses help? Reviews on a software review site, etc. Want to make sure we're all doing our part. It's so nice of you to ask. Let me, if anyone wanted to leave us a lovely review, that would be so amazing. Obviously, as far as subscriptions, we are a business, but you know, we are a business for you guys. So if you know, whatever subscription plan works for you, keep the communication going with us. We love that. But yeah, I'm going to find that link that, it takes about a minute to set up a quick account, but yes, if anyone would like to leave us a review, thanks, Paco. That would be really, really awesome.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys, and we mean it every Friday when we say this is our favorite part of like getting the weekend kicked off. It really is. We love doing this for you guys. We love seeing each other, but we also love seeing your names in here. And, you know, most of us have talked to you guys at one point in time and done demos with you and such. So it really is like a breath of fresh air, and it's a nice way to get the weekend kicked off.
Absolutely. Question here from Keith. He says, does FlowRoute SMS support, feature support MMS? And I got a response from our tech support team. Looks like the answer is yes. Yes, it does.
Sweet.
Cool. Sebastian says, what ideas and options do you guys, what ideas and options have you guys seen added to the agent? Good question. I have a contact form, but what other cool ideas do you guys have in there for the client to use? If anyone wants to share, I actually saw a really interesting, I read every Facebook post. I don't comment, but I read every one. And I saw someone asking, and they were like screenshotting. People even had a way to like add like their logo or like an emoji next to different things, and it was awesome. So if you guys want to share, if you have found something, please let us know. And Sebastian, I think you're in our Facebook group. If you want to scroll through and look through like system tray icon basically, or system tray menu, I think you'll see some cool stuff in there. I've seen some pretty neat screenshots of what people have set up. And feel free to share anyone else if you've got something cool on there.
Question here from Nick. He says, thanks for answering my other questions. You're welcome. It's our pleasure. One last question. Does it do notifications on tickets or alerts? If so, how do I set that up? So yes, we do have a mobile app. It's called Syncro. It's available in the Play Store and in the App Center. And you have the capability in here. I was just looking at it on my phone. Yes, you can view your customers' tickets, estimates, invoices, assets. You can run scripts on your assets. You can also, we recently just added an alert section. So you can, if you just take a look in the app, you'll see if you go over to the settings, you can adjust the alert settings on how you want to be alerted on the things that filter into there. And then obviously use your phone settings in conjunction with that to choose what type of notifications you want to receive.
Awesome. Okay. I'm going to grab this one from Sebastian. What's the best way to import customers and contacts? Seems like the IT Glue integration only syncs the devices. Ninja only syncs if the customer is already created. So there's a couple different ways to import your customers, because it kind of depends on what other tool sets you're using. If I'm being super honest, if you just go to your admin section, and again, this is a little bit probably more detailed than what your question just asked, but my computer's running really slow today. If you go to your admin section, you have this customer import here. So you can just mass import all of your customers at one time. Then you can go, and then there's like the same thing. Once your customer is created, then you can go into the contacts and import those contacts. The other thing though, is that if you use Xero or Quickbooks, you can import your customers that way. Which I know a lot of people do that. Then there is also the import tools, the ConnectWise import tools, the Autotask import tools, Atera, all of those things can import customers. So I think depending on what you're using, there's a lot of different options to do that. And then I'll just quickly grab this other one question. Just, are there any plans to move community forums off of Facebook into a different platform? You know, I think there's like discussions here and there, but our Facebook group is so amazing and lovely. We have, you know, there's different options, of course, as you know, to create forums, but I don't necessarily have a specific answer for you on that one.
Okay. Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. Question here from Brian. He says, I've not been able to find the credentials on the mobile app. Am I missing something, or is it just not there yet? Definitely feature requests. I've personally heard that feedback on a couple different demos. So yes, it's a work in progress right now.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. It looks like, let me see here. Kevin is asking about the system tray icon and if that's where someone would go to initiate chat. So it is. First of all, in policies, you'll want to go ahead and add that item to their system tray menu. So live chat, and it can be whatever you'd like to be visible here. And then they can just click here and they can chat with you. So that is absolutely where they can initiate that chat.
Chat's so awesome.
We have 0 questions. Oh my gosh.
What? It's like 3 minutes to go. Usually we have like 10 in the queue.
I know, it's crazy. This is good. This went so fast.
Yep, it did. I think by popular demand, I think we're probably going to add another time throughout the week to maybe help with international folks that, or like just people that lunchtime on a Friday just doesn't work. So we're going to probably be adding an additional time. So the next time you go to register, there might be some more options there. But, oh, again, more questions.
What do you do when all the questions are answered?
We go into a private Zoom session and we have a dance party.
I don't know if you guys know, but we have a band in the process, so.
Yes. What's the feature request? Keith says on the customer tab, would like to be able to favorite companies so they show up at the top of the list. One thing I do want to just show you really quickly, since we have 2 minutes, just like Brandy gave you a really good detailed version of what saved asset searches are, you can do the same thing for customers. So you can actually just make customers VIP customers or whatever that might be, and you can create that here so that you could go to a customer and you could have like VIP customers and they could be just in your list there. So that might be a way to handle that for now.
Yeah, because you can do it based on a certain number of dollars spent even. Like you can set up your customers that way. That's one of the search options. So
yeah. Yep, you can do it by tickets and ticket count, dollars spent. So you could do it like the most active customers and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. Or like a customer drop down field. If you make a selection like VIP customer, just filter by those as well.
Yeah, and you can also send out mass mailers based on those. See, look at that,
full circle. Love that.
Well, it's 9:59.
The time has come.
Well, thank you all for hanging out with us today. Once again, it's always lovely to see everybody, see returning folks and new folks. So thank you so much. We really, really enjoy doing these. Have a lovely weekend. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
See ya.